Alright, today's video, I'm going to be throwing my Villain's Drift Angle Kit onto my 240. It comes, I sent them the cores for the lower control arms and the knuckle. They shortened the knuckle, extended the lower control arms, and they sent out these extended tie rods, lower or inner tie rods, and they come with new outer tie rods. So, gonna go ahead and throw all that in there. But when I took out the bushings and the ball joints before I sent them out, and they did all their work, and when they got back, I was able to put the left hand ball joint in, and it stays tight and everything. But for some reason on my right lower control arm, it doesn't sit in there. It kind of just falls right out. I think it's because on the other one, on this one, it doesn't have it either, but there used to be like a ring brace that was on it, and well, it's not there. So I'm thinking that's what kind of kept that area tight, so when the ball joint gets pressed in, it stays tight. So all I'm gonna put in the whole assembly, at least for the left side, so you can see how much angle you're gonna see with the whole kit. But as far as how I'm gonna leave it, I'm gonna leave it to where it's just the knuckle and the tie rods if I need the tie rods, because it's not gonna be extended anymore from the lower side. And see what angle it gives me like that. But yeah, so that's really, it's no one's fault. It's just the way. I didn't think that it's gonna make a difference when these things got back and I put the ball joint in. But yeah, the ball joint kind of just, it doesn't sit there tight. It's just kind of floppy. I mean, I could put the snap ring in and it'll hold it in there, but I don't want that play in there. But for some reason, this left hand, she's fine. It doesn't move or anything. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna throw this whole kit in there, and we'll see how much angle we get. All right, I'm gonna insert a clip of the before and after of like a U-turn, but at least for now, here's gonna be the amount of angle I have. That's full lock left. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop off the spacer, get to this the knuckle, the nut that holds the knuckle on, and then we'll take off the caliper and then take off everything else. Now I'm going to take off the two caliper mount brackets. And now that you got the caliper bracket off, let's pull this off, move this off to the side. And now, as of now, you can go ahead and take off the rotor. There's a washer in here. Make sure you don't lose that. That goes to the wheel bearing. So we just gotta take off the two strut mounts, tie rod end, and the lower control arm. Next, we're going to take off this tie rod end. It's going to be a 19 millimeter. Alright, next thing we're going to take off is the knuckle from the coilover. 17s on both sides. Good. Alright, there's another cotter pin. Alright, this nut down here is a 22 millimeter. tension rod. It's a 2 19 millimeter socket or nuts. Alright, next is the sway bar end link. 12 millimeter for the arm to prevent it from spinning, and then a 14 millimeter nut on the bottom. Now your sway bar end link is off, and the last thing to take off is the inner mount for this lower control arm. It's a 17 millimeter bolt and socket, or bolt and nut, and I got my adjustable breaker bar right here. Alright, and with that, this whole assembly comes off. Take off your tension rod, and here is your bracket. And right here you can see the difference between the extended lowers, the shorted knuckles, and just like it's not a real good way to calculate it, but looking on this side, all right, see that? I wish I had like a bench thing so I can show you, but very minor inputs give you very minor outputs over here, and then over here, very minor inputs give you a lot more angle because of this shorted pivot point. Right here it's a lot closer than it is right here, so it gives you a whole different amount of feedback, so to speak. But yeah, now I'm gonna put all this in. I'm gonna have to save this one because, or at least this lower control arm, since I'm not gonna be throwing the lower control arms in there. Still don't know if I'm gonna be using the original tie rods, because I gotta see if it reaches with the normal. I'm thinking I'm going to be using original tie rods, because the whole point of the extended tie rods is because you got to make up for the distance that you're getting from here. But because I'm not using these yet, or I'm not using the extended ones yet, I'm not going to be that far yet. It's just a different location for here. So I think I'm going to be using the original tie rods. But just for show, I'm going to put all this on and show you how much angle you can get. All right, so now here's what it looks like with the lower control arm, the tie rod, and the knuckle. So notice the camber on it. So this is the stock one I haven't touched yet, and then this is the aftermarket parts. You can already tell there's a bunch of camber. And now let's see how much of an angle we get. I think I'm gonna have to, or at least for this one making a left turn, we can see how far it goes, but making a right turn is still limited by that other control arm, or the other tie rod. So I'm gonna take off that tie rod real quick. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like going both ways. All right, so now you've seen how it looks with the degrees. This is more or less straight. We'll go to the left first. And there you go. All right, so there you go, full left lock. I'll go to the right now. And that's full right. That is a ridiculous amount of angle, especially going to the left, because it has that little rack spacer. But the only thing I'm wondering is on it, I put it on without the tab that holds it on, so that allows it to go in a little bit more. But I'm wondering, are you not supposed to put in this tab washer, because the tab washer goes in front of the or between the rack and the actual tie rod. So what the space is supposed to go in more. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think the actual thing is going inside the rack. But anyways, you can see how much angle. I still got clearance right there, and this is with the stock wheels. I don't know what's gonna happen when I have my 9-inch wheels on there. But we'll find out when we get to it. But at least this is how it's gonna look with the extended extended lower control arms, the shortened tie rods, control arms, and your extended tie rods. And is limited by the tie rod actually hitting the lower control arm. But there you go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the regular control arm or lower control arm back on, and put on the new knuckle and maybe tie rod on this one, depending, like I said, if I need it or don't need it. But then once I do that, I'll do the U-turn video again and see how much of a difference it makes. And this is a very, very rough gauge of what it is. So this line right here was when it was straight. For reference, this one was going to the right, OEM angle, and this is the aftermarket angle. And going to the left, this was the OEM angle and aftermarket angle. So these two are the main new ones. So you could tell it's a good amount of fucking angle. But yeah, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put everything back on. Without doing the whole right hand turn real quick. And that's how you install the angle kit. Yeah, it's gonna be great for parallel parking and doing U-turns, so hopefully it helps with drifting too. I gotta clean up all this stuff and put it all away. But like as you saw, I'm not installing these lower control arms until I get the other one that actually has the ball joint that stays. And once I do that, then it'll all be good. All right, there you go. Have a good one.